everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Every leader has a journey, and with the leaders speak, we try and understand the hurdles they have faced and how they have overcome. And today we have a special person with us, Ed Adams. He's the CEO of Security Innovation and Application Security Company. He's also a board member and a treasurer of ICMCP, International Consortium of Minority Cybersecurity Professional, which is a nonprofit organization. He also serves as a distinguished research fellow with the Ponemon Institute. He is the host of Ed Talks, a monthly panel of cybersecurity experts that discuss approaches to secure software-based IT system. Thank you so much, Ed, for joining me today.
Thank you, Vandana. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Ed, we want to start off with knowing your journey, especially around the venture that you have.
Of course. So I started my higher education as a mechanical engineer, and I worked as a mechanical engineer when I graduated college. But I fell in love with the software that I was using to make all of my designs. I wasn't a particularly good mechanical engineer, but I really loved the software. So I left the mechanical engineering world and I entered the software world. And frankly, I thought everyone had lost their minds because unlike mechanical engineering, where we had a very formal and rigid process for defining and designing and prototyping, the software world was like, how do you call it, the Wild West in the US, right? It was build it, ship it, the customer will test it. So I found it a little bit insane, but also exhilarating. So I immediately went into the quality space, software quality, functional testing, performance testing. But one thing that was clearly missing was the aspect of security as a piece of software quality. So in the very early 2000s, I was connected with a professor named James A. Whitaker from Florida Tech in Melbourne, Florida in the US. And he approached me because he decided he wanted to start a company now called Security Innovation with a group of his graduate and PhD students that he was teaching about security in software. And I decided to join James as a board member for the first year. And I've been CEO since October 2003.
That's an incredible journey. I am sure we all have a lot to learn from you. I've seen you from past couple of years and your journey has been amazing. You inspire a lot of people.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I also have my share of inspiration, including yourself.
That's so kind of you. So I also wanted to understand when you start your day as a CEO or a person who is an entrepreneur, there are multiple things come your way. There are multiple roles that you have to play. There are multiple responsibilities that you have to take care of. So how do you balance that out? And how do you solve the problems that come your way? Or maybe the things that come your way? How do you ease them off?
Well, so first and foremost for me, it's important to keep priorities in mind. It's not always easy. But I do sometimes try to take a step back and always remember what are the important things. And for me, with security innovation, the most important thing are our employees to make sure that they are happy, they're productive, and they are feeling fulfilled. And I've always believed that if you build a company that is solving real problems for customers and you treat your employees well, and good things will happen. And that's exactly how we've approached security innovation since day one. We've never had an objective to say, we want to sell for, $200 million or we want to be a unicorn. It's always been a very pragmatic type of approach where we want to solve real problems that our customers are having, making sure that we're adding a lot of value and then treating our employees like adults in a way that they want to be treated to keep them happy and productive. And that's worked for us. We've had some very long tenured employees here at Security Innovation. And we've even had folks that joined us as an intern and then over the years was promoted to a manager, then a director, then a vice president, and then senior vice president. And I take a lot of pride in that because it means that we're treating our employees well and they want to stay with us and they want to grow.
Right. And when you talk about this journey, how much entrepreneurship is people management? And at the same time, how much it needs to be a hands-on person, like hands-on activity are you able to carry?
Yeah, it's 90% about the people, in my opinion. Um, when I became CEO, I was a very young CEO. I think I was maybe 33 years old, which is quite young. And I didn't know what I didn't know, but I knew that there were a lot of smart people that could help me. For example, I wasn't the strongest in finance, so I found someone that knew a lot more than I did in finance. I didn't know a lot about employment law and human resources, so I found someone that was very smart in those areas. But for me, it's all about making sure that the employees know what your objectives are, what your vision is, what your plans are. And I also like to be very transparent with them, with the employees, whether things are going well or things are going poorly, because I find that they respect that transparency and they want to know, are things not going well and why? Now, at Security Innovation, we've had the privilege of going through two global recessions, one at the end of 2008, early 2009 with the financial crisis, and like everyone else over the past year with the pandemic. We were able to weather both of those storms very well because we were very transparent with our employees. And even though we had some employees that decided to leave during that time, we were able to help them on their journey to make sure that they stayed on a productive path moving forward. So for me, managing the people and the people's expectations is about 90% of what makes a successful entrepreneur. The hard work, putting in the time, making sure that you have appropriate product and services visions, and you support yourself with staff that can fill in your shortcomings and gaps. That's the easy stuff. The more difficult stuff is that personnel management, making connections and making sure that the employees understand exactly where do you want to take the company and why.
Right. And that's a very good point. Like the past year has changed a lot of things in the organizations, but I can see that security innovation and you are constantly working on the values wherein the people are valued more than anything else. And at the same time, people's mental health is equally important. Like everyone has started to speak about it.
I'm glad you brought that up, Vandana, because a lot of people are uncomfortable talking about mental health. And in the US in particular, for whatever reason, we have a lot of this machismo kind of personality. And speaking about mental health is not comfortable, but it's so important. And so at Security Innovation, for example, even before the pandemic, we had a policy of you can work from wherever you want to or need to. You can work whenever you want to and need to. Just make sure you get your job done. You don't miss deadlines. You treat other employees with respect, and you can work from wherever you need to. And that served us very well during the pandemic because we had people that all of a sudden were very uncomfortable in downtown Seattle, which was one of the big epicenters at the beginning of the pandemic in the US. So we had folks that wanted to leave the cities and move out to the country or relocate halfway across the country. We had some people relocate to different countries, and all of that was okay. But again, because we had set that precedence of you as an employee are important, we value your contributions. And if you're going to be more productive living somewhere else, working in a different time zone, that's okay. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's make sure we can help you on that journey and keep you productive. And some employees decided it was too much for them and they needed to take a break from work altogether. Again, totally okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very good approach to manage people. And I've also heard a term called not calling employees employees, which is yeah, one good way to handle the whole ecosystem.
Yes, exactly. For many years, I actually would refer to Security Innovation as the SI family, and for some people that was a little bit too intimate, but that's okay. That's just how I am. But yes, referring to folks as teammates, as family members, and listen, we spend a lot of time with our fellow workers, and it's important that we are comfortable with them and we can be productive with them. We also have something that we call the no jerks policy here at Security Innovation. That's an important one for us because, again, you spend a lot of time with your workmates, and life is too short to spend 8 to 10 hours a day working with someone that is just, negative or, not productive. So, we try very hard to identify, those folks and very gently try to work them out of the organization to another organization where they might be more productive, because it ends up impacting everyone.
Right, right. Totally agree on that. And if you're teaching your mentees or your juniors, so what would be 3 lessons you would want them to impart based on the experience that you have, starting as a CEO at the age of 33? And I would say that there's no age defined to be a CEO. Anyone at any point
Agreed.
of time could be a CEO. So I am sure you did your best. You understood what was needed at that time. So could you please share some of the advices which can help us and the people who are listening to this discussion?
Yes, of course, and yes, I did my best. I made plenty of mistakes, but now looking back, 20 years later, whatever you do it because you care, you have a passion for it. It's too difficult to spend so much time in work if you don't have a passion and you don't care for it. And I know you can relate to this with your InfoSec Girls program, for example. What a wonderful program that is. So do it because you care and you have passion. 2, be transparent. People love that in general, but employees and coworkers treasure it. It's a leadership quality that I wish I had practiced more when I was younger. So that's one. That's number 2. And number 3, be personable. There's a human side. And if the past year and a half has taught us nothing more, is that to see a little bit more of the humanity in people behind, the business person, the title. So be human, be passionate, be transparent.
Thank you so much for such valuable advice. I am sure this is going to help us long way, and we have a lot to learn from you. Thank you so much for joining me today here.
Thank you, Vandana. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.